Start your engine.
Hello, fellow automobile enthusiasts. You know, I have an automatic transmission Camaro. Now, I know a lot of people are going to make fun of that because it's automatic, but I'm old and have a bum knee. Clutches are not something I can actually deal with anymore, so I have an automatic. And one bad thing about the automatic is that you are limited if you want to customize the shifter. It's got the little trigger shifter here because it is an automatic. You have to unlock the actual lever here that has the knob on it. So that is, like I said, very limiting. Well, I went and I bought an adapter here. This is from White Madness Garage. This actually turns this from a trigger activated one to a push down. You know, you push down on this instead of actually having to pull that little trigger. I hate these trigger activated ones. They feel cheap. It's a cheap little piece of plastic. You know, springs in them are cheap. I don't like them. This is much nicer to push down. I did this change in my last car. So I'm going to install this here and then put another shift knob on it. I believe I'm going to go, I've got two options. I've got a carbon fiber ball and I've got the skull here. I think I like the skull. Adds a little character to the interior of my car. So I'm going to go with this. But first, I actually have to take the old one out and put this adapter here on. All right, the first thing I do is get the shift boot out of here, and it should just pry right up out of here. Actually, I didn't even need the pry tool, just pulled right up out. Okay, now that you got this off, you have to actually pull the shift knob off, and it doesn't come off easy. It wants to give you a fight, so just pull for all you're worth. There you go. It is off. Now, once it is off, to remove the boot from the actual clip up here, from the actual shifter, there's two little tabs here. You just got to pry those out and push it out. One out. There's the other. And then this should separate, and it did. Now this you won't need again. And there's that little trigger mechanism I was telling you about right there. But you won't need this again, but you will need this, and you'll probably need to remove this plastic ring from it here, but we'll do that here in a moment. All right, the next thing you got to do is separate this into its individual pieces. So you got to take the screws out of the side here. There's one on both sides. Make sure you keep a hold of those. And that one just went down in the seat. I'll have to get that one out. And make sure you don't drop them in there. That's the last place you want to drop them, is into the actual opening for the shifter. All right. Now you're going to take this part, the part that has the spring in there, and it's very well lubricated, as you can see. Got a lot of silicone lube on there. And that goes down over the actual shift knob here. All right, once you have this on here, you go ahead and you line up the set of the top holes. There's two holes on here, a bottom and a top. Line the top up with, there's a little hole at the bottom of the slot. It's like a slot with a little hole at the bottom of them. You line those two up and you use the included little thing here to put it in. And you can put some Loctite on that if you want to. I probably will take it back out and put some Loctite on it when we're done, but it's a pain in the neck to do that during filming. All right, I got the front one in there. Now the back one's a little trickier because you can't get the whole screwdriver there, and you got to just kind of be able to feel it. Make sure you don't cross thread it, and you'll be all right. All right. That is on there securely. So now we have to go about, before we can slide this on, this is just going to slide down over that. That's just going to line up on there like that. You're going to line it up with the holes on the underside piece here, right like that, and then you'll have your push button release. But first, I've got to attach the boot to it. First thing you're going to do is remove this little plastic ring. It's just glued in there, so just pull it out. It literally is just a little tack of glue around the edges. Okay, now once you get this out, you don't need this anymore unless you plan on putting the old one back on, which I don't plan on doing. So I'm going to stick this down through here. I just want to get it to where it's right where it needs to be, above the holes. You don't want to put it over the holes or you won't be able to get to them to screw it back in. So you just stick it on there like that, and it should line up about like that. And then you're going to put one of the black zip ties they gave you. They included these. I've got a ton of these laying around, but since they included them, I'll use the ones they included. And you just, while it's inside out and upside down like this, you just zip tie the leather on, making sure to get it nice and snug. You can apply a little glue around the outside if you want to. I've never had to. Now, one thing you do want to make sure you do after you've done this is cut this piece off, or else you'll start feeling this underneath the leather, and it is annoying as hell. So once you cut that off, we'll be ready to install this. Okay, now it is ready to go on. All right, now before we actually attach this, let's pretend, just pretend for fun, that I was stupid enough to do the one thing I warned you you didn't want to do, and that was be careless when I was putting this screw back in and drop it actually down into the console. Let's see what you'd have to do. As you can see, you'd have to remove the entire console. It's a pain in the ass. Now, it is only 6 bolts and popping up the rear seat, but it is a pain in the ass. You don't want to have to do it. So don't be stupid enough to drop the screw in that hole. Right now that it's on here, what we want to do is make sure it's seated fully to where it lines up with that hole. Do not drop it in there. There we go. It's catching. Just tighten that down completely. Now let's come at it from the other side and do the same thing. All right, that is screwed on. Now you're going to turn this right side out because it's been inside out for a little while here. And pop it down where it goes. Should just snap right into place. Now just got to make sure that pushes down. It does. It doesn't have anything encumbering it. And now all I got to do is install the knob. You can either just put a regular screw-on knob like I have one of, or you can put something custom on there like I'm going to do with this. And once you get it on there, once you have it screwed down tight to the liner there, you'll be able to shift now simply by pushing down and using your shifter. So all you got to do is push down going from park to reverse. You don't have to push down for anything else. It's just when you're going up into reverse or into park. I think you get the picture now. Once that's on there, tightened down, that'll be my new shifter. It wasn't a hard install at all if you pay attention to what you're doing and don't screw around and make mistakes. Probably would have only taken about 5 minutes if I'd done it right the first time. But as it is, I'm about an hour into it now and I'm sweaty as hell and tired. So I'm going to end it here and I'll attach this later. But for now, that is how you install the White Madness Camaro automatic transmission adapter, so you can switch over to a custom knob and have a push down type of trigger mechanism instead of that cheap plastic trigger. Like I said, pretty easy install if you know what you're doing, which I apparently don't.